Victoria Minor in a class of her own.
U.S. record, Brian Heron.
We start a new U.S. #1.
There you go. Can they do it? Fourth national record for bullets.
This is unbelievable. Transcendent.
Into the record books.
Rewritten.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here with Brian Dyball. I'm Cory Mull. This is MileSplit Live, and we are back. How was your weekend, Brian?
It was pretty great.
Yeah?
It was awesome. On Saturday I went to the Puppy Bowl. I don't know if I told you this.
Okay.
Yeah, got some dogs playing football, so that was interesting.
Fair.
Obviously watched the Super Bowl.
Probably a better
good.
game than the actual Super Bowl.
It actually was. Probably just about the same score, to be honest.
Yeah. We have a good show planned for you, including a guest from the USA Junior Championships this weekend in Tallahassee, Florida. That's Carter Cheeseman. But before we get into that, let's explain a little bit about why cross country is still going on. Now, every 2 years, USA Junior Championships happen. It's a cyclical nature. This year was a U20 period for the USA Championships, and that meant we had some qualifiers in Tallahassee on that Appalachia Regional Park course, which is amazing. It's a great course. It's going to be the home of NCAA's in 2021. But, you know, what were your thoughts on seeing some of these high schoolers go into this race this weekend?
You know, it doesn't surprise me, as we were talking about earlier. I'm surprised there wasn't more high schoolers, because if you think about it, a lot of the collegiate athletes have already started into their indoor season. They're really focused on maybe trying to score points for the team. I know most of them it's freshmen. You know, but really focus into that indoor season, as where a lot of the high school athletes who either A, don't really have an indoor season, or B, can just prolong the indoor season or prolong their cross-country training. Why not do it? I think it's a cool opportunity to try to get to travel abroad and you know, represent Team USA.
Absolutely. Cross-country is a very unique sport, and it comes with distance running, but it's a good opportunity. Top 6 finishers USA Junior Race qualify for IAAF U20 Championships in Denmark in March, so it's coming up quickly. So we have Carter Cheeseman on the line from Fort Worth Christian. He's a senior in a Notre Dame Sinai. Welcome to our show, Carter. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
So what did it feel like to grab the final spot USA Juniors this weekend? You know, you were 6th place, 24:46.2. It had to be a rush.
That's for sure. I mean, I think I was talking to you at the end of Foot Locker, and I thought that my cross country season, I mean, top 10 at Foot Locker is obviously, you know, wonderful, but it's not where I wanted to be. I thought there were a lot of things that factored into that, but you know, when I found out about the opportunity of you know, USATF championships and the opportunity to compete at Worlds, like one more, you know, cross country race, I was like, oh man, I got to go for it. So to then be able to finish 6th and get that last spot, man, that feels really good.
I did find out afterward that there's another championship that you could have qualified for as well. It's the NACAC Cross Country Championships in Trinidad and Tobago on February 16th. And also 6 USA competitors will go there. Did you get invited to that race as well?
Yeah, so actually the top, I didn't know that either until the day of. But the top 6 got the opportunity to go to both, actually. And awesome. So, but all of us turned down that to go to the Worlds. Right. For me personally, I mean, it's just kind of, I mean, I only knew about Denmark going into it, so I didn't even know about NACAC. And personally, I'd like to go to Europe more. So, but yeah, that's just me.
So what was a lot of your motivation and kept you kind of pushing forward to get to this meet and to be able to qualify for this event?
Yeah, just, I mean, what I said earlier, you know, I'm not going to compete in high school cross country anymore after this. So, I mean, this was not necessarily high school cross country, but I'm still in high school, you know, so this is like the last thing. And, you know, the depth at US distance running currently is just ridiculous. So, I mean, who knows if I'll ever get a chance again to compete for the USA in any capacity. So, like, the opportunity to be able to do that, like, means a whole lot to me. And that was, like, some serious motivation for me, like, going into it, training for it, and then even, like, in the race. I was like, I can still do this, you know?
Well, this was your first 8K, right?
Yeah.
What was that like going into a race like this, with a lot of depth? I looked at maybe the 2 mile mark and like 17 guys were within like 2 seconds of each other. So at any point, did you feel like you were always in the race? Did you ever feel like you were out of the race? Like as it unfolded, where did your mind kind of go?
I mean, it was definitely, I didn't even really think about it through 2 miles, but at least at 5K, we went through in like 15:30. And there were still, like 15, 20 guys with us. So that was a bit depressing at that point. Because I was like, running this pace, I'm not feeling too hot. Some people should be slacking off by now, but there's still a large pack. So it was just, it was definitely hard to kind of like keep focus. Because you just really wanted it to be down to 6 by that point. But you just had to keep fighting through to the end. And that's kind of what I was able to do, I guess.
What did your kind of block of training look like after Foot Locker and kind of the normal high school cross country season to continue into this? Because obviously, you've ran some indoor races in the past and you kind of build differently for that. You'd start to do some speed and some things like that. So how did you kind of transition, or did you transition from, cross country, the high school portion, to like getting ready for this in particular race and this particular event?
Yeah. I thought about just, not just going on through and just training through, not taking any time off. But my body needed it. So I took a week of doing nothing after Foot Locker. And then I was able to just, it was kind of a slow build. It really was only 7 weeks. And I didn't even get to the mileage that I was at, summer wise or anything like that. But I think the element of rest and recovery was really good. And that's just as critical as anything else to be able to, hit the workouts. But in terms of like the workouts and stuff, it's definitely more tempo oriented things than I've had in the winter training block in the past. But I do have some miles coming up, indoor races, so I definitely had to get a little bit of speed in as well.
What do you got coming up indoor? Are you running Millrose? Are you running Millrose?
I am, yeah.
Oh, okay. Congrats. Going to this race in particular, what was the key juncture for you? Because, Bryan and I both know it at times it can be a very technical course. It's wide at times. What was the key juncture for you? When did it when did you have to make your big move?
I'd say a little bit after 3.5 miles, coming up the hill for the second to last time. I'd say like there's a group of 7, I think, that kind of made a push like right after the top of the hill, where no one else wanted to really go. And right there, I kind of had to make a decision to bridge the gap. And so I pushed it a little bit after the top of the hill, going down towards 4 miles. And then, I was really not feeling very good at that point. But I was like, if I can just make it to the hill one more time, I feel like I'll have a chance to close hard. So I would say that was the move right there.
So now that you qualified and, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but like how stoked are you for this overseas trip? What are you looking forward to about Denmark and just this experience in representing Team USA?
Yeah, I'm super stoked for sure. Really, I didn't even know necessarily about like this opportunity until like right after Foot Locker actually, but I've been kind of dreaming about it for that 7 weeks leading up to it. So to be able to accomplish that is just really awesome. Really looking forward to. We leave like 5 days before the meet, so we'll have plenty of time to kind of experience the culture of the city and like I'm assuming tour around it just a little bit. So like this is my first time out of the country, so just like seeing new things, a new country, that'll be so cool. And then just like racing in such a, ridiculously talented field will be really cool. So I'm not expecting, big things from that, but just to be able to mix it up will be fun.
What can you say about the idea of giving nothing less than all of you during a particular race? Because you've proven time and time again that you leave nothing less, nothing on the course, but everything. So when that's a real intangible thing when it comes down to the final moments, a kick, whatever. What can you say about that idea of just leaving nothing out there but everything?
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do, for sure. I think this sport requires it, like running in general, but cross country in particular requires it much more than I don't know, maybe any other sport out there. It's really difficult. And for this race in particular, I definitely felt it at the end. I was a little bit out of it. Took me a while to really kind of like get my wits about me after it. But I mean, I think that's how Graydon Morris finished, was right in front of me, and then he kind of fell down right at the end, and that's how I was able to get that sixth spot. So I mean, he did the same thing. It's just for something on the line like that, like the chance to represent Team USA. Like I think everyone's willing to give everything they have, and I mean, it's a special opportunity. But I think cross country athletes, like I said, are just special in that way that they're able to do that on a consistent basis.
So going to Denmark now, are you going to learn any Danish? And can you speak any right now? Have you looked up any like just phrases like thank you, goodbye, hello, anything like that, or not quite there yet?
I have not yet. I thought about it,
yeah.
But I was like, I got time, like a 12-hour flight, I might be able to do that there.
I heard Google Translate works really well, actually.
Yeah. So hopefully I can get a couple phrases down.
Okay.
Nice.
And I learned from your father that you met Molly Huddle over the weekend. I believe she's a Notre Dame grad. You're going to Notre Dame. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what was that like meeting her and maybe any other professionals that you looked up to?
Yeah, that was cool. She was really the only pro that I was able to meet while I was there, because we were in the drug testing tent for so long. They make you go in there and like drink your life away to go get a sample or whatever. But but she was the only one I met, but it was pretty cool. I mean, when I was at Notre Dame on my visit, I saw like her picture all over the wall, so it was cool to make that connection.
So now this is about your nickname. We know we've kind of given you, and I know it's kind of caught on a little bit, the Cheese as the nickname. Do you have any other nicknames, and some that maybe don't have to do with running or non-related, that your friends have given you?
I mean, not really.
No.
I mean, Cheeseman is just such a
It's great.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's so good.
I've gotten all varieties of cheese, So it's been an evolution.
Hold up. This is a better question. What's your favorite kind of cheese?
So I got asked this question at Nike my junior year, and I said pepper jack, but I would like to retract that.
Amend it. Yep.
I'm gonna throw it out there that feta is the best cheese.
Feta's good stuff.
Feta's great with
like feta.
things, like putting feta on things, I think, and eating it.
I can eat feta alone,
for sure.
though.
But I mean, for me, I'll just eat it plain. I'll put it in there and just, take a fork to it.
Brie is also really good. You get some like maple syrup and some walnuts. Whew. That's good cheese.
All right, we got a couple more questions before we leave you. Your dad, Ken, and your mother both ran collegiate cross country and track and field. Your dad at Virginia. He went to Foot Locker. You've been to Foot Locker. You're an All-American twice. If you're racing your dad in his prime, in your prime, obviously, in high school at least, your high school prime, you're in it right now, who would win a race?
I mean, anything longer than a mile, definitely me. I would kick his butt. But the mile, I have yet to, hit his PR. So I still like to think me, but I have yet to do it, so I can't say it yet. He likes to, he's holding it over me. So
he's got that 407, right? 407.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
And we know you have a major kick. Obviously, it's been something that you've really shown, and it's become a staple of yours. Have you run any sprints ever? Like, what's your 100 or what's your 40? Anything that you could speak of?
I have not run anything under 400 before. So, but I mean, I'd like to think that I could throw down maybe like a 23 something in the 200. Wow. So
yeah, that's not bad.
We'll see.
Well, in due time. Carter, best of luck in Denmark in March. Obviously, you got a mile coming up at Millrose this weekend in New York, so best of luck there. Thank you for being on our show, okay?
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, take care, man.
You too.
So, wonderful job of him qualifying in that really, really tough men's race. On the girls' side, Grace Ping also qualified. She was 4th overall, 21-26. And Heidi Nelson from Texas, 21-30, grabbed that or the final spot on the girls' side as well. I know Ping already committed to actually doing that NACAC meet in Trinidad and Tobago in about a week and a half. So she'll be there, and she's also running Denmark. But we'll figure out the rest of that field too. But these 3 athletes getting to Worlds is something, an experience that you can't. It's amazing, right?
Yeah, I mean that's incredible. That's really cool, and I think they're gonna have a great experience. And for Grace Ping, I think, Heidi Nielsen's a big surprise for me. I think. A name who she's been flying on the radar, but she's been there, on the cusp every single time.
She was a top 30 finisher at both NXN and Foot Locker.
Exactly. So she's there. And then, Grace Ping, she's had a great end of season. Really came on strong when it counted and mattered most.
Yeah.
So, and to continue into this is huge.
Like Carter said, he wasn't happy with his 10th place finish at Foot Locker Nationals. Grace was 31st at Foot Locker, so she was probably hoping to really come back and do more as well. So a lot of things really motivating those athletes. As he said, Graydon Morris finished 7th in that race. Drew Bosley was 14th, I believe. Colin Baker was 15th. So we had some good high schoolers perform there. So congrats to those guys. Let's move on to our top 5 storylines. All right, honorable mention here is the North Rockland girls, the defending NBNI champions, set a U.S. #1 in the DMR this weekend at the Varsity Classic with Caitlin Toohey, going 4:45, the anchor, coming off a national record last week. Is North Rockland in the mix now for a DMR title again, do you think? They got a good squad.
I mean, if you run a U.S. #1, I think you're probably going to be the favorite heading in, and you have Caitlin Toohey running, wherever you put her, she's probably going to run the best possible leg. So, yes, I mean, you definitely have to think that they're definitely going to be in the mix for, something great. Especially if she runs for the team, which she has been known to do. She loves to run for the team. That's why she runs most of the time.
Haley Morales is a strong, maybe 1,200 or 800 meter leg, and then you got Toohey probably in the anchor there, and I'm sure Brian Diglio, the head coach, will find the pieces to make sure that works throughout. So congrats to them. We're going to go number 5, though, the 5th storyline, Music City High School Invitational, formerly called the Vanderbilt Invitational. Had some top flight performances, including Justin Robinson back at the track. He went 21.55 in the 200, 47.36 in the 400. Alexa Rossum from ATL Zoom performed really well. Darcy Kahn back after an injury at Texas A&M performed really well in the 60-meter hurdles. And Bryn Sumner, the girl who's breaking out to tremendous appeal this indoor season, 2:09 in the 800. So in your eyes, anything in particular that really stood out to you at Vanderbilt?
One thing, Justin Robinson, I think, you pointed out kind of earlier to me, he already has one of the top times in the 400 in the country. He does have the top time. And then to come back and run what he ran, he clocked that 46.77. That would be U.S. #2. Or sorry, he ran 46.77 at Arkansas, came back and clocked 47.36 this weekend. That would be like U.S. #2 right now. He is one of those.
Well, it's under Ashton Allen's top time.
Yeah, it's one of the. It would be one of the top times right there. It's right in the mix of the top time. So if you staggered him as multiple times in the 400, so it's super impressive for him to be able to do that. A guy that we didn't know if we were really going to see too much more of him just because he's in Missouri. They kind of don't have a huge indoor season calendar like most places. So it'll be interesting to see how he kind of goes forward now if he does some of those big river meets out there, or if he heads to New Balance Nationals indoor and sees what he can do in the matchup.
This was a place that we were supposed to see Nicholas Ramey debut out of Georgia. Didn't get to see him, but this just solidified, or maybe at least my feeling. I don't know if it's your feeling, but Justin Robinson could go to nationals. I hope so.
Oh yeah,
and really could be a threat to win a national title.
Definitely. I mean, when you look at that and what when you run that consistently, I guess is what my point in saying all the things I was trying to get to the point of. You run that consistently, and you run 2 top 5 times in the country. It just shows the consistency, and I think he's there to make a good push for that.
Yeah, Alexa Rossum won 7.43 in the 60, 24.08 in the 200. All I think top 15 times nationally. She's out of ATL Zoom, and she is a girl that probably is going to hope to focus a lot more on the outdoor season, but indoors, I mean, she's really thrown it down. They have a squad that's built for indoor competition. Alexa, I think her sister Trinity is also on the team. What do you think of Alexa's performance here?
That was another thing that kind of stood out. When you look at it, she's only behind Tamari Davis and Samir Killebrew, two top names in the indoor season. Obviously, Tamari Davis, everybody knows who she is.
Yeah.
And then to beat, obviously, Thelma Davies and Ariana Minor, she has better times than both of those two ladies. She's definitely moving up, and that's very impressive for somebody who I feel like last year we mentioned her. She might have been
glossed
down a
over
little
bit,
glossed over maybe, but
yeah.
definitely making a name for herself this year. With that ATL Zoom track club.
Yeah, for sure. She was another girl that was at the Texas A&M Invitational early on in June, or early on in January, and so was Darcy Kahn, which she's from Stockbridge High School in Georgia. I was really looking forward to seeing Darcy Kahn this season. She's a signee for University of Kentucky, and she was a really great hurler, but at Texas A&M, she hit a hurdle extremely hard during one of her heats, and she was out for a month. So, wasn't quite sure how she would rebound or recover from that. She went 8.56, which is a top 5 time in the country in the 60, I believe. So, I mean, that proves to me that, she took requisite time and she's back on it and she's ready to go. What is it? Top 9?
Top 9.
U.S. number 9 for Darcy
US number
Kahn.
9.
So that looks really well for her moving forward. And then, I think we'll talk about Bryn Sumner in the future. You're going to probably do a workout with her, right?
Yeah, I'm going to get her for a workout, actually. She's one of the few people I actually have solidified a date and time with when I head to Georgia in a couple weeks. Really excited about her. Yeah, she ran the 209 in that 800. That's impressive for her. Obviously what she was able to do at New Balance Grand Prix there as well, turn around and run a solid time in the 8 as well.
And I'm almost positive Bryn Sumner has a fan club out of Georgia. So
yeah, good. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's number 5. We're going on to number 4 now. Alabama State Championships that were held in Birmingham at the Crossplex. Threw down some great efforts. The records that we want to speak of are Trey Allen's high jump, 6'9", surpassing the state meet record of 6'8". He didn't get the 7 feet like he had done before, but he still set a state meet record there. And then Nicole Payne of Oak Mountain went 54.11 seconds in the 400, breaking her own record previously throughout her career. So Nicole Payne ran well. Amaris Tynisma won 3 titles again, her 5th time winning a triple. She's got 23 state championships over her career, and she hasn't even started spring track yet. And then Presley Myers in the lower classes won 4 titles as well. So, for you, anything in particular that stood out here?
I think Trey Allen. I looked at some of the guys mostly doing the MileSplit 50 with the boys. And Trey Allen, even though he didn't clear 7 feet, I think consistency, again, is key. Going 6'8", 6'9", in the high jump and hitting those bars consistently shows that he's, still in the top guys. Even if he's not making a U.S. number mark, hitting a U.S. number 1 mark every time he jumps, he's showing that consistency and over again showing that he is one.
I'm wondering if he got to 6'9", and then he just said, let's move it up to 7.
Yeah, let's move it up to 7.
So, which is tough. It takes you out of your rhythm a little bit as you build up.
Maybe even over 7. Maybe he was like, let's go like 7.2 or 7.1 just to get over a higher bar and clear more than his PR already. So it could have been.
For Amaris and Presley, high workload because they're running more than 2 events. Amaris didn't set any records of her own volition there, but winning 3 titles in a high classification for Montgomery Catholic. It's crazy. This girl's been running at a high level since the 8th grade, and she continues to win. So, I mean, she's got to go down in Alabama as one of the most accomplished, revered athletes of all time, and we're watching her, compete.
And I feel like there's every now and then some of those. I feel like it happens a lot in the southern states. I feel like Louisiana, we had a girl who won several state titles. We talked about her in cross country as well. You look at it, another name that comes to mind, Cameron Fisher in Arkansas. He has won a bunch of state titles. It's when you're good, you're good. And wow, I can't say. Tynisma, thank you. Just adding to that collection is incredible, and that solidifies yourself. I mean, we need to start looking at the number of state titles athletes have. Like who has the most? It doesn't matter classification or what. Just who has the most state titles, and to start a running tally, a list. If somebody out there has it, send it our way. That would be awesome.
I mean, it would help for the states that include 6th graders, but I mean, 23's got to be up there.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be some of the most ever. So.
Number 3, Iceland's International Games. A selection of 8 American junior athletes went there to compete in Reykjavik in an indoor facility. It's a really new opportunity afforded by the National Scholastic Athletic Foundation. Typically, they put on some meets in the Caribbean and the Bahamas, but they took 8 American teenagers, including Marcellus Moore, Ashton Allen, a couple Bullis girls, Hannah Waller, Leah Phillips, and they competed there. And Marcellus Moore, let's start with him. 6.71 in the 60, won his heat, one of 2 wins on the day. you're watching it right here in the clip. Marcellus back after about 3 weeks, and he looked in prime form.
Yeah, I mean, Travis went on a rant about him back a couple weeks ago, and I don't think I can top that. But I mean, Marcellus Moore just proving again why he's one of the top sprint talents in the nation, and probably will be for the next few years.
I still don't think his start is the best that it can be, but I don't think anybody beats him from 20 meters onto the line at the 60.
Well, can we play the clip again one more time, actually, and then see it? Because I did look at it, and I think you're right. I think at the beginning he was getting beat, by the guy in lane 4 there, but then I think what he does a good job of is staying down in that drive phase and keeping his head real low, and I think that helps pull him through in the end and get a real good, strong
center of gravity.
In
it's amazing. I think Marcellus Moore is just setting himself up for the outdoor season where he's Illinois' 100-meter champion. He's got real potential there. But also Ashton Allen, like Justin Robinson, was running an open 400 again. He had run 47 earlier in the season, and he had gone I think 47 to mid, but right here again, consistency showed 47.70 to win his heat, and it wasn't really close. Like, he dominated in this heat. So Ashton Allen proving again that he's really at a level that he's made of himself.
Yeah, and plus obviously like he's on those relays and everything. So it's nice getting to see him do an open event. Like you said, he ran that 47.83 back at the Marine Corps Holiday Classic in December. But now in February, obviously already improving, tenths of seconds. We'll see how low he can get, as the season moves on, as he really gets into those individual events. I think
still just a junior too, so he's not even a senior yet. And then let's not forget about Hannah Waller and Leah Phillips that were in the 60-meter heat. We have a clip of them as well. I believe Hannah was 3rd in this heat, and Leah might have been 4th or 5th. Hannah right now is in lane 2. She's from South Lakes High School in Virginia. So really good showing overall by the Americans in Iceland, and hopefully this continues over the next couple of years, indoor opportunities, maybe overseas. I mean, just getting this kind of experience, you just can't.
No, I think that's incredible. I wish I would have been that good in high school to be able to run internationally, and I don't know if there's as many opportunities, but I'm sure there was still probably quite a bit. But it seems like there's more and more that are popping up each year with these, big meets and athletes being able to go different places and really experience competition outside the U.S. Because I feel like sometimes we are in a little bit of a bubble, but it's interesting to see how well and how good other countries have. There's other countries that run very well in athletics, so it's good to see.
Oh, athletics!
I like athletics. I like that. International term for it. Not track and field. Athletics.
It's like football, soccer. What is it actually? Okay. Number 2, Athing Mu goes number 4 all time in the 800 at the Camel City Invitational at the JDL facility, a flat 200-meter check, and she goes 2:03.98 to finish, I believe, 5th or 6th in her field. Ajee Wilson set the all-time 800-meter mark on a flat track, going under 1:59, but pulled Athing along for this amazing time. What were your thoughts? I mean, we talked about her for the last 3 shows, but this again proves that she can't be stopped. She now is U.S. number 1 in 4 different events.
I want her to send me whatever she eats and her dietary plan. Her training regimen actually would be nice too, because maybe I can start running fast as well. Interesting thing when she tweeted though, she's like lined up with the pros for a good time. I could do this for a living. To be continued. ... Yeah. So interesting, just seeing her mindset, how much she just loves the sport and she wants to be there, and she's like, I could do this forever. I love running. It's just a fun mindset to have, and I don't know. We talk about her every week, so I don't know how much there is to say.
Well, it is the one thing I'm a little concerned about is that with more success comes more opportunity, and you're going to get a lot of these invitations from other places now that all will want you to run at their events. So I heard the other day that some meet in Knoxville, I think, or it might have been Tennessee, wants her to run at their event. She's running Millrose this weekend too, and I believe the 600. So she's going to get more and more opportunity the faster and faster she runs. And I know Al Jennings, her coach, has made a point over the first couple of years to limit her, right? We don't want to burn her out or wear her down. So, it'll be an interesting sort of balance that you're going to have to mix as she continues to run fast.
And I think it's a lot about trusting the coaching that she has there. And like you said, Al's done a fantastic job of setting her up well. And, you look through her profile, and, over the past few years, you only mostly see some of that stuff towards the end of the year. AAU things, New Balance Nationals outdoor, some smaller, a couple meets. This is the first year I think she's really kind of putting a name for herself. And, being that she is a junior, class of 2020, that's a time when you do want to put a name for yourself, because that's when colleges are really looking at you and they're really going after you. So I think it's smart what they're doing, and I think maybe next year, after she runs all these great times, maybe next year she'll rein it back. I feel like it'll be reined back again. And even this year, I don't think she's ran a good amount, but no more than an average.
Not a lot of doubles.
Yeah, not a lot of doubles. A lot of single events. Not too much like what she does at AAU when she runs 4 events and tries to win all 4 or anything like that. We've seen her run 1, maybe 2 events at a meet and call it. So I think she's doing the right thing. She's gonna be along the right lines, and obviously she's setting all-time marks. So whatever she's doing is correct.
I think she's done enough to stay in that #1 spot in the MileSplit 50, which we released today, and we'll talk about it more on Thursday. But I mean, I don't know if you can argue what she's been able to do. She's #1. Caitlin Tui set a national record, but like Athing, she could, every time she races, she does something incredible.
Yeah, it's blown my mind. And for Caitlin Tui, and it's weird. It's not that saying a national record isn't a thing anymore. It's like, I don't know how you put it. Like a thing is chasing national records as well. So again, like it's like for your MileSplit 50 for the girls, you're talking about girls that are chasing all-time great marks. It's hard when you're comparing those things, and it's like right now, this season, I think Athing has some of the best marks.
It'll be a really interesting run down the end of the season, whatever she runs at the Millrose in the 600 and then nationals. If she sets a national record or two, does she stay in that one spot? Yeah. If Caitlin sets a national record in the 1 mile, I think it's hard to not put her at 1, but we'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. Also at Camel City Invite, Victoria Starcher has run 2 races so far this season, 2 very good races, 4:45 in the mile, and then Shadeja Ballard of Western Branch went US 1 in the 16-meter hurdle. You're seeing Victoria Starcher right there from that mile field. So she's actually going to be at Millrose as well. It's going to be a ton of great kids at this meet. But let's go to #1 now. We'll talk about it briefly, but we already spoke with Carter, but it's the 3 high schoolers at USA Juniors qualifying for U20s. Any other thoughts?
I mean, we already went over a lot of this. I think it's a huge opportunity. It's going to be a really, really awesome experience, especially for Grace. She's a younger athlete, so
sophomore.
It'll be great.
Let me say something about Grace. Dominant. She was second at one point in this race against Nicole Claremont. And granted, the field for collegians wasn't like, these aren't studs on the girls' side for the most part. It is more quality on the boys' side. But I mean, for Grace to stick through 6K with this girl until the entire way, I mean, I think that shows a lot of gusto from her and a lot of just sort of heart for her to finish 4th overall. Heidi as well, 21:30. 2 high schoolers that got to the final qualification. So congrats to you guys.
Well, and the big thing for Grace is that I feel like there's times where people might have counted her out throughout her season or throughout her career. She has a bad race every now and then. Yeah. But like this, I think this helps to solidify and prove like Grace Ping is still here. And like I said, at the end of the season, she started to turn it on and run very well. So. Yeah, I think it just...
We'll figure out whether Grade Morris, who finished 7th, Drew Bosley finished 14th, Colin Baker was 15th. If they get that nod to NACAC, that'd be pretty cool to see those guys run. I know Drew and Colin were both in the mix through about 5K. It was fast 5K. It was about 15:30 through that mark, and they both wanted qualification. I think Colin hung on a little bit longer than Drew did, but they might get their opportunity in Trinidad and Tobago. So those are the 5 storylines from this past week. Let's go into some notable efforts around the country that we didn't mention. Sean Dolan went 4:09 in the mile at Boston University. He's coming off last week's runner-up finish to Matt Pamps. So Sean Dolan, 4:09 right now, #1 in the country in the mile. Any thoughts?
Yeah, impressive for him to overtake Maytant's mark there in the mile. Maytant ran in a field of collegians and pros. Was Sean's race with collegians and pros? I'm assuming.
I think so. Boston University, typically.
So it's good to see, and that's another experience I think it's good to have every now and then as a high schooler, especially if you're that level. Like you get into that race because it's a different racing experience when you're not leading from the front. If you're leading from the front a lot of the time, or kind of waiting to see who's going to take it, like there you kind of just go and get dragged along, and what happens. And I think for some of these guys and girls to get that experience at the top end, it's a great thing for them to have.
And then let's go to this really awesome video of Kenneth
I love this
Wei
video. I love
of
this video
Mount
so
Sinai
much.
High School in New York. This kid went U.S. #1 mark in triple jump.
Come on, Kenny. Come on, Kenny. Come on, Edwin. Come on. Go, Gary. 25 feet even.
Oh my God! What?
U.S. #1! Let's go!
No kidding.
Let's go!
Can we not
US
say
#1
that?
in the long
That's
jump.
an amazing video. That the fact
Yeah.
that he was like, oh my gosh, I knew it immediately.
Yeah.
And he's like looking to
He's-
chest bump somebody. He's looking for maybe a high five. I don't know what's going through his head, but
Yeah.
that that's the reaction of a wonderful event. His personal best before that jump in the long jump, 24 feet.
24 feet.
24 feet. So that's
Yeah.
a foot best.
He was U.S. number 2 with the 24-foot jump. Now he's U.S. #1, 25 feet. Incredible jump. And his reaction, you said like he was like getting up and like ready for it. I heard I've never jumped. Obviously, I was more of a distance guy.
Only a
I was
distance
only a distance guy.
Come on now.
I never jumped.
All right.
But I've heard like everything. I think we've heard it from Jasmine Moore, other good jumpers. Like when you have a good jump, like you feel it in your body, in your bone. Like you feel it, and you had that good jump.
He's like, I'm ready.
Yeah, and he's like,
What's the mark?
Yeah, he's like, I'm ready. He's like, give me, do it. Like, let me know.
Yeah.
And then there's like this explosion of like energy and excitement. So I mean, that's one of those marks that's like awesome to see.
You
And
didn't hear it in the video because it got cut off at the end, but he was just like, MileSplit.
yeah, we're gonna send it. We're gonna send it too. We're gonna send it.
MileSplit.
Along. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was great. Congrats, Kenneth. And then our last, one of our last mentions is Sydney Thorvaldsen of Rollins High School. Doubled in Wyoming this weekend, 4:55 in the 1600, U.S. #3, and 10:30.95 in the 3200 meter, U.S. 1 again. Simplot's coming up on the West Coast, so maybe she's preparing for that. But that's Sydney showing her strength in the indoor season. She's getting older too, just like Grace.
Yeah. It's Simplot will be cool. I can't wait. That's always a great meet. Out there in Idaho, I believe. Correct?
Yep.
Yeah, Idaho. It's always good. So we should see some great talent there.
One last nod. We also Bailey Goggins ran an 800 and 209
Yeah, I
indoor
can't forget about that.
state record in Texas. She also ran against collegians just like Sean Dolan. So kudos to her going under 210, which is very good. Let's go to some previews for the week. We got a lot happening on MileSplit and Flow Trek over the weekend, but we put this entry list up for Millrose on milesplit.com. You can check that out right now. But let's go over some of these events in Millrose right now because it's huge fields. I guess we can go just briefly. Pole vault, Hayes Farmer and Rhett Nelson, both from Arkansas, are both entered in Millrose. Do you think this competition is going to brew maybe something special there?
I think definitely. I think both of them, and I'm pretty sure Rhett actually beat Hayes at the earlier in the year, if I'm correct. But Hayes obviously exploded and had a huge mark at the Arkansas High School Invitational. So it'll be interesting to see though how they kind of play off each other and respond.
Maybe the 18-foot mark, which we're hoping for.
Oh man,
trying to
great.
reach that like last year. I mean, if either of those guys get to 18 feet, that would be wonderful to see.
And both of them are there. They're close. They're
Yeah.
close. Yeah.
In the women's 1 mile race walk, this includes international walkers, collegiate walkers. Taylor Ewert is the girl to watch. She set American junior record last year at the same venue, looking to go under 7:20:45, I believe that she's trying to go under for the mile. So Taylor Ewert's going to be there. We also have the boys 4x8. I think is one to watch. You have Loudoun Valley, the defending national champions against St. Benedict's Prep, who's gone under 8 minutes already this year, and they got a lot of 800 runners that can go under 2. So St. Benedict's Prep versus Loudoun Valley, do you think that's going to be an epic matchup to watch?
They're some of the two big teams, but looking at their two, I see Saratoga Springs is in there, Shea Wabacher. Who knows? Maybe they could drop under. This is definitely gonna be an event that's gonna be won in a time that's well under 8 minutes. So.
It's going to come down to that anchor leg for all these teams. Shea will probably be an anchor for Saratoga Springs potentially. Alfred Chawanza from St. Benedict's Prep, who's gone 152, I believe, and Sam Affolter. We'll see what he can do for Loudoun Valley. Yeah. In the boys 60, it'll be awesome to watch. We're going to have Nick Cross of DeMatha Catholic going up against couple Bullis boys, Ashton Allen, Andre Teray. Brian Santos from Massachusetts has a U.S. #1, I believe, right now.
Yeah, he's tied there for U.S. #1 in the 55-meter dash. with I think Nick Cross. The two of them are tied, so that'll be really great to see. Them all kind of go at it.
Boys 300-meter run, Ashton Allen again, Anthony Brody, Ryan Wiley. This is going to be an epic matchup because Brody, the Villanova recruit, ran well at VA Showcase, beat Tyrese Cooper, Ashton Allen, traditionally very good at the 400, but he's capable of going under 34 here too.
For sure.
All right, well, what other races we have here that we can highlight? Athing Mu in the 600 up against Alana Sabakin, Victoria Van Riel, Vanessa Watson as well. That's going to be very, very fast. Watch out for the Bullis girls in the 4x2. They set a national record at the VA Showcase. Nope, I'm sorry. That's incorrect. Last year they set a national record in the 4x2, but they're fast.
I think both the miles are obviously going to be
okay
to the highlight events.
All right. Let's get to the mile on the girls' side. Caitlin Toohey, if she runs, obviously going to go for a big time, but you have Kelsey Camille, Taylor Ewert here, Taryn Parks, Victoria Starcher, Marley Starliper. Who's the girl that you think is going to stick with Caitlin? Because Caitlin's obviously going to try to set the pace and run her own race.
I mean, I think Marley Starliper has one of the top times that's going to be close to Caitlin. But
Marley beat her last year too. Remember that?
Yeah, and then also I think you look at
Kelsey beat her as well.
Like Victoria Starcher doesn't have the she has a pretty good time, and what she ran in the 800, or what she's run in the 800 is pretty quick, so she could be in the mix. I'm still not counting out Taylor Ewert. I think I learned that lesson after NXN. We'll see. I don't know. She doing the race walk and the high school mile.
She's absolutely going to break 5 minutes.
Interesting. Yeah,
I definitely think that. I mean, to go from it depends on where we think what kind of shape she's in. I think she's probably sub 450. I'll say that, but I do think some of these girls are going to be.
I guess the question: how many girls are going to go sub 450, sub 445? 440s, 440, sub 440.
Caitlin Toohey's already gone 439, so I think that's going to be probably the pace that's going to be set. I really want to see Kelsey Camille run a fast race because she's been fast, but not like her level of fast yet. So I'm hoping she really throws down and. She finished second this race last year to Gabrielle Wilkinson. Toohey was fourth. Starliper was third. So I want Starliper, who traditionally goes out to the lead and she likes to control races, maybe do a little bit similar here. Kelsey. And then watch out for Taryn Parks, too. I think she's a sleeper in this race. Okay. Boys High School Mile. Sam Affolter is in the race, as we talked to Carter. Carter Cheeseman's in the race. Jake Renfrey, Matt Rizzo, who you like. Sam Toulin, Shea Wallbacher as well. Anything? Maybe, do you think this race is going to go under 407, which it was won in last year?
I think it. So that's the thing. So this is one of those races where if they kind of sit around, they're waiting for somebody to take the lead. Nobody really wants to take charge.
Yeah.
It won't go under 407. But if it's like, hey guys, let's just go after it and try to go for this sub 4. Let's go for something wild here. This field has a potential. I mean, some of these top guys who've ran some strong times, with Carter Cheeseman, Sam Affolter, he's a strong miler. Jake Renfrey's now proven to be a strong miler. I think he's one of the guys who could definitely, be an underdog in this. Maybe not quite so much anymore because he ran such great mile times already this year. Sean Dolan obviously has proven that he's run some strong performances. This is a loaded field and anything can happen. It just depends on how they play race strategies. That's the thing. Like you get that night competition, any championship style race, it's going to be the race strategies and who wants it
Unfortunately, more. I do think it's going to be tactical to a certain point.
If it comes down to sit and kick Sean Dolan, I think they'll take it.
It'll be the last 2 laps. That's what I'm imagining here.
Well, who'd you bet on then if you were going to say if it comes down to something? Because Sean Dolan has one of the best 800
obviously
times.
Has already proven, but that's 3 straight weeks of miles.
That's a lot
for Sean Dolan. So I don't know if your body can kind of withstand that constant wear and tear. I'm going to go with Sam.
You got Sam?
I think Sam definitely needs a race where he's with guys his own caliber, and once he gets it, he's going to really show you what kind of runner he is. I mean, everybody, I think, doubts him for some odd reason. They say he doesn't show up in big races, but I think Sam Affolter is going to win this race, and I think he's the guy to watch out for. Although, watch out for Carter as well.
I'm going to take Sean Dolan.
Okay.
Or Jake Renfrey. If it comes down to sit and kick, I got Sean Dolan, but I like Jake Renfrey in this one too.
Also up on MileSplit this weekend are the North Carolina Indoor State Championships, Friday and Saturday. You can watch that on MileSplit. Great athletes. North Carolina is becoming a really, really talented state full of prospects that are on our national leaderboard. So, Randolph Frost, Caleb McRae, Kayla Davis, Carmen Elder. What one race or athlete or team are you looking forward to at the North Carolina State Championships?
Right when you said like on our leaderboard, I just went and thought, I was like, man, I was looking at this earlier as I was putting together MileSplit. There's quite a few North Carolina guys who've really made a name for themselves. Randolph Frost being one of them, running some of the top times in the 300, 400, and he does the high jump and the 500. Obviously, you have one of the top guys in the long jump, Eric Haddock. See if he can maybe try to best that mark from Kenneth Wei and reclaim the #1 spot. That's going to be a big jump if you can do that. So there's some two.
That was
two
triple
strong
jump.
ones.
Was that triple jump?
No, yeah. Eric Haddock has the number 2 in the long jump, 24.5,
Okay.
and he has a strong triple jump mark of 47.8.75.
So the guy,
So he could do 2 good jumps.
yeah, for sure. I mean, he's probably the favorite in North Carolina, right?
I would say.
Right. So he would have to kind of meet his own expectations. I'm going with Charles McBride of Apex. She's only high jumped 6'8" this year, but he's gone over 7 foot in his career. He actually went to the Youth Olympics last year in October as part of the USA group that got invitations there. And Charles McBride is super, super talented. He just hasn't had a great jump yet.
Yeah.
So I really think he's kind of
a sleeper, kind of about to be one of those next big names.
No, only one person's gone over 7 foot this year, which is kind of odd. I think
Yeah,
we've
normally
had a lot
at
of
least
success
one
in
or
recent
two.
years.
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah, so Charles McBride, watching out for him. And my other girl to watch out for, well, he was a guy, but a girl to watch out for is Carmen Alder in the mile. She's gone 4:58. I think she can maybe cut some seconds off of that time too. And Kayla,
I would say, we get to see Kayla Davis. She'll be there, I'm sure. And
yeah, I think she needs more competition. So
it'll be a walk in the park for her. We'll see her go off like crazy times.
For sure. Yeah.
Interesting thought. We'll see.
On Saturday as well, the Great Southwest Indoor Classic. You should see some great times there. As it's in altitude in New Mexico, and it traditionally brings some talented athletes from high school there. So that is on MileSplit. And then let's get to our last preview. It's on Sunday, the SPIRE Scholastic Showcase, featuring some national talents: Samira Kilborough of Indiana, Brooke Jaworski of Wisconsin, Nick Foster of Michigan, Asia Lorenzen of Michigan, and Jane Wood of Ohio.
First of all, I was just telling you before the show, I love this track. This track it's an oversized track, so it's a little easier to run on, and I never was a big fan of the indoor season, so having an oversized track always helped me. But I think that this track is, this meet produces some fast times as well. I want to say, some of the Michigan girls ran here in years past and did well in the hurdles. What are other? There's been several big events. I want to say Austin ran in the 200, or maybe I'm thinking of the wrong meet. Maybe that was a Wildcat Classic.
I think
they also have an oversized track.
Last year, the girl from Ohio, Abby Steiner.
She's the other big sprinter.
60-meter record. Yeah, she's incredibly fast.
There's always some fast times at this particular meet in this particular venue. I think it bodes well. I think Nick Foster, we should see pop a big one. He's been running pretty well. I want to say he's like number 7 or 8 in the 800 and one of the top milers in the country right now.
Oversized track, too, for distance runners typically lends itself to fast times because you get more in a rhythm down the straightaways, too, when you're really picking up steam. So that could really bode well for a guy like Nick Foster. We haven't seen Brooke Jaworski really a lot since the outdoor season, even though she did run cross country in Wisconsin, but her main event, 400-meter hurdles, outdoor season. She qualified for U20s last year, and she's a 400-meter runner. She's even run the 800, so I'm interested to see what she runs because she's headed to a great program, University of Texas in Austin, where we're at. So Brooke Jaworski ready to go in indoor season. That should be a fun meet. Stay tuned for all the information on Ohio MileSplit and milesplit.com. Do you have anything else for you?
No, man. I think that's it. I'm excited. Those are some big meets we got coming up on MileSplit with North Carolina and SPIRE.
Same here. We will have all the coverage, milesplit.com, Twitter, Facebook, everything. Check us out. We will see you next Tuesday for MileSplit Live. Thanks for watching.